I'm here with Ed Hedrick, who is PDGA number 001. Ed, you invented the disc pole hole. How has the sport progressed in the last 25 years?
It just took off like wildfire. And now we see the top of the pinnacle, where these people are so much better than us old guys that they're not even in the same game anymore.
Now that it's getting for more money, more clout, more points, more everything, you know, it matters more. When you throw that good one, it does exactly what you want. That's like the feeling that I like crave.
He likes it. And he
No way!
Drew Gibson.
Oh my gosh, I have goosebumps.
The fans are there holding their breath like, oh. I'm living that same moment. I'm sitting there like, am I gonna execute? Those moments are what get your heart going.
Last year, every weekend felt like the biggest tournament. Like you felt like you were playing on the biggest stage.
It's pretty insane to see how much we've grown as a sport. Come out to some tournaments, just see literally thousands of people out there. It makes it almost more fun, you know, to be excited to see how the discs are flying. And just being amazed when something works just right.
It's unreal, honestly. It's unreal. I still can't like wrap my head around it that I'm here and I won the World Championships. It feels amazing. It doesn't feel real. I don't know if somebody can wake me up from the stream. I don't know. It's crazy.
Unbelievable stuff in the 17-year-old. Game blurred. Every time, man, the moment comes his way, he answers. He answers the call.
It feels so unreal. It makes no sense. At no point this whole weekend I thought I had a chance to win.
Oh my gosh, that was such an unbelievable shot.
It's very apparent now that we are on the brink. Each event can really become a huge impact on your career. We're putting the puzzle pieces together now, and it's going to.
You know, this is something big, and it's only getting bigger.
And finals of the 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour presented by Barbasol. We are at the Matt Keatts Memorial Disc Golf Course at Nevin Park in Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined alongside four-time world champ Valarie Jenkins. Val, our 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour season ends today, and someone who's excited about that is Kristin Tattar. She has had an incredible year. She's talked about how she's also anxious to get home, but it feels like she's got one more job to do, one more round. Can she do it?
It's hers for the taking. She is our #1 seed. We don't have #2 and #3. Paige and Katrina, they're out of the conversation. Kristin Tattar has been so dominant, specifically in the last couple months of the season, and what better time to make it happen. Here's Kristin back in early spring in Jonesboro. She took that down, and the world's warm-up at DDO.
She would then head over to Iowa, where she would take down Missy Gannon, who she'd be playing with today. And then, of course, the World Championships a little over a month ago, picking up her first world title. The very next weekend, she was still on the Silver Series and said, yeah, I'll go into Pennsylvania. I'll take one down there as well. Feels like wherever she goes, she's hoisting a trophy. She's always finishing on the podium at least, but She took down Green Mountain. She went all the way to the very end at the MVP just to come up one shy. But as I said, a dominant player throughout all of 2022.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Matt Keatts Memorial Disc Golf Course at Nevin Park in Charlotte, North Carolina, the proud host of the 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship presented by Barbasol. We have now reached the culmination of the season, and I am proud to announce the FPO lead card. On the card, please put your hands together for Miss Kristen Tatar, Miss Own Scoggins, Miss Valarie Manduhanu, and Miss Missy Gannon. On the tee, please put your hands together. Representing latitude 64, Miss Kristen Tatar. Representing Nevin, champion discs. Please put your hands together for Miss Own Scoggins. Representing Dynamic Discs, please give a warm welcome to Miss Valarie
Manduhanu on the tee, and our coverage brought to you in part by Dynamic Discs. Be dynamic.
Rounding out our card, representing Discraft, your defending Disc Golf Pro Tour champion, Miss Missy Gannon.
And as our card heads down the fairway, we're going to take a look at our Arcana current conditions. Temperature 60 degrees, humidity at 77%, and consistent with most of this week, our wind negligible. It is at 0 miles per hour. A beautiful day in Charlotte. Couldn't set up any better for our finals.
And what that says to me, that all they're thinking about today is the golf at hand and the shots that they need to throw. And this course is challenging enough, even in the perfect conditions. And what a Final Four we have today. Of course, world champion Kristen Tatar, #1 seed, but all of these players have won big events this year. They know what it takes to putt under pressure, throw the shot under pressure. But I have no doubt that the nerves are going to be running high from the tee of one to the final putt.
Kristen near the back edge of circle 1, going with a slightly wider stance here to get around the tree. Just off the cage for her birdie attempt.
Missy looks like she has that same tree to deal with, about 3 steps closer to the basket.
Wow, and Gannon very low on her attempt. Mandahano with our last chance at birdie on hole 1. And she converts. Valarie opening with the birdie on our very first hole. And the routine tap-ins for the par. But Valarie Mandahano picks up the birdie.
And we always talk about how nervous these first putts can be, and specifically talking about those last couple of players missing their putt. Valarie steps up and cashes it.
We've got Zoe Andyke along with the PDGA's own Hayden Henry. They're on the tee of 1. Let's hear from them now.
Good morning, everyone. Reporting live on the ground here in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships final round. We've been waiting all season for this, and we are so thankful for our presenting sponsor in Barbasol. The vibe out here is incredible, and I'm joined here by PDGA's Hayden Henry. We've had a chance to see a lovely amount of spectators. We have checked in with the players. The nerves are from high to low, low to high, but this is Championship Sunday. How does it feel?
Yeah, for sure. The vibe is great. Like you said, it's fun, but the pressure is there too, and they're all thinking about that record payout of $35,000. Just an incredible week to culminate the 2022 season, and I think the card that we just saw tee off represents what the year has been like in FPO.
Absolutely. And we've heard from Owen Scoggins. Hard to sleep throughout the entire week. Kristen got her first night of sleep last night, whereas Missy is just cool as a cucumber and cruising in, where she feels like she has already accomplished everything she set out for, and today is all about the glory.
Yeah, all kinds of great storylines. Valarie Mandahano started the season strong, looks to finish it that way. Owen Scoggins, a 2-time major champion this year in the Masters division. Kristen, 1-time world champion, and Missy, the defending champ. So it all just adds up to a great Sunday.
We're excited to provide this live coverage for you, and we hope that you stick with us through not only the FPO but the MPO this afternoon, as this is the finals for the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship.
Thank you for the insight, Zoe, and hearing of our competitors as to just how nervous they are and if they got a full night of rest and relaxation. We'll see how that plays out here in the morning.
And we'll see how playing under pressure and playing with the nerves can help these players focus in even a little bit more. But interesting to hear Missy Gannon feeling calm and comfortable. She took down this tournament last year. Will she be our first repeat champion?
And we're going to take a look at our UDisc course close-up as we're at the Matt Keatts Memorial Course in Nevin Park in Charlotte, which was established in 2009, rated 4.5 on UDisc. The FPO layout is a par 66, just shy of 8,500 feet, and we'll see classic Charlotte woods golf with elevation changes mixed in. UDisc has over 13,000 courses listed. Go out and download it today. UDisc, the app for disc golfers.
And with the course changing this year, we're setting a new standard, and the best round that we've seen out of the FPO division was back in the quarterfinals. Valarie Jenkins shot a 5 under. She shot bogey-free up until hole 12, then had 1 bogey to finish on hole 15. But compared to yesterday's round, she shot 6 strokes worse. So that's the type of course we're playing. One day you can feel flawless, and the next day feel like you're struggling on every shot.
Valarie with the standstill, putting it right next to the basket. That'll be an easy tap in for the par.
Thank you so much.
And both Valarie and Missy, they had to play in the quarterfinals, and then they had to play in the semifinals, and now they have the finals today. So they have one more competitive round than Owen and Kristen. That could help them feel a little bit more comfortable or be aware of out of bounds.
Good run by Gannon, but short. She'll remain at par.
You see how quickly the discs can filter toward that out of bounds line, and Kristen quickly steps up and puts it underneath the basket. Oh, not risking this one. She was on fire with her putter yesterday. Hit 2 massive C2 putts. She hit 6 putts just inside the circle.
Well, and you say yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and say all of 2022. Owen Scoggins, known for her incredible putting. She's going to have the shortest distance off the tee out of all of these women out here today, but she always finds a way to make up for it with her putting. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Behind every face is a story, unique, each and every one. Beautiful stories, inspiring stories, some beyond our wildest dreams. And every day, a new story begins. We salute every fearless, self-assured, undeterred, hopeful face all across America. Here's to the next 100 years. Barbasol.
Worlds is the tournament you want to win. Doing whatever I can to be as prepared as possible.
Stop being afraid and just play your game and be fearless.
When I get there, it's going to come down to getting in that mindset and staying in the moment. And if it happens, it happens. But can't think about defending, can't think about winning. Got to just prepare. If I leave winning, it's going to be awesome. And if I don't, like, there's still so much golf left and so many more opportunities. Be in the moment.
Zoe Carlo, 8 avocado, take 7.
Action. shot. Perfect. That's a wrap, everyone.
It was important for me to partner with a retailer that could help with growing my brand and making my products available all over the country and across the world. Flight Factory has helped me accomplish that. Check out all of my gear and thousands of other discs at Flight Factory.
We are dedicated to the game. Developing technology and providing data that helps you take the next step. Whether it's your next training session, league night, or major. Because we believe the best way to grow the sport is to push the sport. And the best way to do that is together. We're focused on the future to make that happen.
Go long! Whoa.
Hey, over here.
The Tour Championship is brought to you by Barbasol, the American original for over 100 years. Welcome back, everyone. We are on the tee of hole number 3. Valarie Jenkins off to the 1 under par start. Pulled to the right side, but she'll still have a look.
Number 3. It's just over 300 feet, and it's relatively straight. If you want to go for that slight turn at the end, you're going to finish off heading toward the men's pin, which will likely give you a more open look at your putt.
Tatar will have a putt from just inside the circle, but pin high.
We always think about Owen throwing the sidearm and having those full flexing shots, but Owen has a very smooth backhand. And making the disc do all the work. Those were some incredible throws, and you can hear from Missy, you put the pressure on me, you guys all parked it.
Missy Gannon with our close shave replay brought to us by Barbasol.
And that was a full commitment shot from Missy, releasing it on the hyzer line and making the disc fight to turn over.
Thank you to our friends at Barbasol, our presenting sponsor of the 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship.
There's something so nerve-wracking about being in the woods, knowing that there's huge crowds surrounding you, and you step up to your shot and it's completely silent.
You hear the bid by Valarie Jenkins clanking off the top of the basket. She'll be tapping in for par. And not a good line or look here for Owen Scoggins. Certainly a little frustrating for Owen because just 2 feet to the left and she would have had an unobstructed putt.
That's going to be the story of the day, Terry. 2 feet to the left or right could make all the difference in how a shot or a hole plays out.
Kristen Tatar for birdie. Kristen comes up short. She's going to open with 3 straight pars. Missy Gannon has now a chance to put herself on the board. Put a putter in Missy Gannon's hand. More often than not, it finds the bottom of the basket. Problem on the comeback putt for Owen. And the other 2 will tap in. They're going to have a long walk over to the tee of 4, which means we're going to stand down. We'll be right back.
If disc golf is your game, make Gotta Go, Gotta Throw your disc golf warehouse. With a huge selection of discs, bags, baskets, carts, shirts, and more. GottaGoGottaThrow.com has all the tools to take your game to the next level. Shop online or our Golden Valley, Minnesota store. Free shipping with all online orders over $75. Online or in-store, get what you need for the game you love. GottaGoGottaThrow.com, your disc golf warehouse. In the game since 1993.
Air Spectrum is Prodigy's new line of premium lightweight discs in the mid-range, fairway, and distance driver models. Air Spectrum discs are engineered for the same shot performance of their heavier counterparts with enhanced glide. You can now get beautiful bursts of color no matter your preferred weight. Air Spectrum, bag one today at prodigydisc.com.
Hi, I'm Innova Team Captain Nate Sexton. Welcome to our instructional disc golf series.
We're Kenna. We're a Dutch growing company. We love plants and we want to tell you some cool things about them. Just like humans, plants can communicate. They can sense when another plant is close. Plants look out for each other too. They warn neighbors about nearby threats by secreting substances. And studies have shown that plants love a good tune. We love and understand plants. Let our passion excite you too.
Welcome back as Missy Gannon now ready to tee on 4.
There's out of bounds just at the bottom of that valley. So you're either going for it or laying up.
Missy Gannon hits one of the center trees with a nasty kick to the left side. What will be the opposite result is Valarie Mondahano way off to the right. She will be out of position from that right side. Kristen Tatar also pulling it right, not seizing the opportunity. And a somewhat favorable kick for Owen Scoggins. Owen Scoggins putting everything into it, otherwise known as a yeet. And of course, if you'd like to yeet, you could head over to our friends at hooligandisc.com. They have 3 different molds, including the thread, the vibe, the yeet. Make sure you check them out, hooligandisc.com out of Rockwall, Texas. This is your best opportunity, one of the most open holes that we'll find out here on the course. Thank you to Hooligan Disc.
And Owen Scoggins was our only player in yesterday's round to card the birdie on this hole. She did not go for the big shot to get over that creek at the bottom of the hill, but she went aggressive on the second shot. And the only way you can do that is if you put yourself in a decent position off of the tee shots. And it's better to be on this right-hand side. But I'm not sure Kristen can get to the basket.
Kristen attempting to lay up. And she gives it just the right amount of power. So Kristen will be safe. She's still on the short side. However, that should be a relatively easy pitch up and over. She's trying to just walk away with a par here on hole 4. Zoe, can you give us any assessment out there as to what we'll see for the next 3 shots?
Well, Terry, all of the competitors do not have a very good position. Although Valarie's disc made it a good ways up the fairway, she's completely obstructed, so I'm thinking pitch out for position at best.
Appreciate it, Zoe. And Missy Gannon trying to find a lane out to the fairway as well.
And Missy throwing completely to her right. There's no shot to make any sort of shortcut. And then, of course, with that out of bounds marked, no need to bring that into play.
Her approach shot puts her right back on the fairway in good position to get up and down and save a par. Owen Scoggins forced to lay up as well. You see the very narrow window that she has. Cannot get aggressive.
No.
Yep, that's the route directly to the pin.
As you saw her for a moment second guess herself, and immediately her husband Justin said, no, that's not what you should have even thought about. So just confirming the play.
And that's the smart play, and that's kind of the decision already made for you. If you get off of the fairways here, a lot of times the only option is just to pitch back to the middle of the fairway. The woods are so thick and are so troublesome if you try and get greedy.
Well, all 4 discs after their approaches right there. Now we'll see who can have the best third shot. Good opportunity for all 4 of them to save their par.
And this is it, Terry. This is the tournament. Just these 4 players. So right in front of you, you see your competition. You see what they're doing, how they're playing, what they're left with on their shots. So right now, they're all matched up here on hole 4. Who can throw the best upshot to get it underneath the basket to save the par? Missy had a downhill run up. Punches through the front side of those trees. She should be able to save it from there. So this second shot heads off to the left-hand side. This fairway kind of creates a Y shape. The men's pin is on the right, the women's pin is on the left.
On the high left side of the pin. Very makeable putt for Kristen.
Yeah, just behind the basket is a hillside. So that can catch any discs coming in at high speed. But if you go too far, you'll have that downhill putt.
This approach sets up great for Owen Scoggins. I believe hit off the basket yesterday. Fourth to approach, Valarie Mondahano. That's pulled left, and she was in the best position and had one of the worst approaches, so we'll see if she's going to be first to putt. I'm going to roll the Zuka replay to watch Owen Scoggins pull back, stand still, forehand. Play it into the hillside, skips up, comes in just a little bit hot. A short makeable putt for Owen for par.
You mentioned yesterday's round. Owen hit the right side trees basically at the base, and it skipped off the base of the tree and hit the basket. So not only did Owen get that birdie, but she almost got the eagle.
Kristen Tatar actually will be first to act. And Kristen Tatar buries the straddle putt. Mandujano will be carding the bogey here, which is going to bring her back to even par. She misses from just inside where we saw Kristen convert. Missy's stance a little bit awkward here for the short uphill putt. She converts.
There's been a lot of emphasis on putting in these first couple of holes for this group. You know, whether they're not getting their tee shots close enough or their up shots close enough, they've had to make the putts. We'll see if that can continue on or they get more dialed in, because as the pressure mounts, it doesn't get any easier to make putts at that distance.
And Valarie is in. And we've seen this all year long. Kristen Tatar, the straddle putt under pressure, almost as if she could patent that. If she does, she should reach out to our friends at Sunstein Law. They can help with all your intellectual property needs, patents, trademarks, logos, branding, anything you need. Reach out to our friends and partners over at Sunstein Law.
And think of how incredible this is. Every one of these competitors has their significant other alongside with them, caddying for them today, calming the nerves, keeping them focused.
And I want to speak to nerves maybe for just a moment. Yesterday at this point, we saw 6 birdies out of these competitors through 4 holes. Today, we've seen half of those, just 2 birdies in the first 4 holes. Yesterday at this point, with these same 4 women, they had carded 6 total birdies. So a much slower start. You have to assume that's related to the nerves because the weather and scoring conditions are perfect. And a very favorable tree kick there for Missy Gannon. That's going to put her right back in the center of the fairway. And speaking of center of the fairway and then some, gets a little roll she could have done without, but Kristen Tatar's forehand on point. Tee of 5.
Hole 5 plays as a par 4, almost 600 feet.
Early tree for Mandujano. She'll be first to act. And as they move into position, we're going to take a quick look at Kristen Tatar and her form, brought to us by idiosports.com.
Kristen has such pure form. And every time she steps up to a shot or a tee shot, it is so repeatable. She keeps everything very compact. She reaches back, she extends her arm to get that power, and she comes through with consistency every time.
We see her relying on that forehand in even the most delicate of shots, whether it's a drive or an approach, it doesn't matter. Kristen going to the forehand, and it pays off big here on the tee of 5. Thank you to Idio Sports. Move with purpose. You can find them on idiosports.com. They've created a disc golf shoe for all of us to wear and enjoy.
And the shape of this shot Bends off to the right-hand side. Kristen, with the longest drive of the group, almost made it to the corner. There is a lot of open space. It's just a matter of how the disc finishes when it lands. Valarie hitting one of the first available trees, kicks her off to the left. She got some forward progress, and then being on that left-hand side, it will line her up better with the fairway rather than being tight to the right.
Meandering through all of the trees here on 5. Great second shot by Gannon.
Yeah. I'm just past those big trees that you normally want to forehand, you know?
That is overturned out of the hand of Owen Scoggins, and that's very punishing. Trying to put the Anheuser angle on the forehand, and she just put too much on it. It hits, it actually cut rolls into the right. Scoggins putting herself out of position with that shot.
In all of the attempts that we've seen this weekend on hole 5, we've only seen 2 birdies. So playing this hole for par, that allows you to get a good score. It's not a hole to be aggressive on.
What Valarie wouldn't give for a par at this point, now no longer in question for her to obtain on hole 5. See the gallery out there, including 5-time world champ Paige Pierce taking in the action. Of course, she's a competitor that was eliminated yesterday, but still a fan of the game and then some. In fact, I think back to the final few holes at the World Championships. Paige not on the lead card. I watched her embrace Kristen Tatar with a few holes left to play and said, I wish I was here to watch it.
But you could see who Paige is rooting for today, wearing the Missy Gannon logo t-shirt, loud and proud.
I'm going to throw it out to Zoe for a moment. Zoe, we've seen 4, 5, 6 other shots, and we've yet to see Kristen Tatar throw her second. Tell us how good of a drive that she had, and what does she have left?
Yeah, Terry, Kristen's drive was one of the furthest we've seen on the weekend. She got about a 40 to 45 foot bonus roll, and even though it's off to the right-hand side of the fairway, a completely open look. Whether she throws another forehand or a turnover backhand slower speed, she can attack the pin for the birdie.
Appreciate it, Zoe. And now we're seeing the look that Kristen has. A moment ago, we saw Valarie counting up her strokes on her fingers there, trying to remember what score she's at. Kristen trying to distance herself here. This could be a huge birdie, and she's going to put herself at circle's edge. Kristen Tatar, deep of the basket in 2 throws.
Owen is just no more than 10 feet in front of Kristen, but a little off to the right with not much of a look. She's gonna have to fight through those branches.
Halfway through the flight, that connects with a tree for Owen Scoggins.
This is the story of the Nevin course. These longer holes, par 4s and 5s in the woods. We could see those dramatic stroke swings happening. It comes down to focusing in and getting off with a good tee shot. Otherwise, you'll struggle the entire way.
As we see Mondahano's approach shot come in just deep of the pin. She'll have that left for a double bogey. It could be as much as a 3-stroke separation between her and Kristen, depending what happens on the green. Here's Scoggins. And Owen will have a short putt left for her bogey. Checks up for Missy, and that'll be a tap-in par. And after opening with 4 straight pars, Kristen has the opportunity to put herself on the board with a huge birdie on 5. And for as consistent and solid as we see Kristen Tatar time and time again, today her putter is off to a very slow start here, Val.
And we see how frustrated she is, missing that. And missing on the left-hand side, you're just not giving it that chance. You're not throwing it strong enough. You're not being confident in the release point. And that's nerves. Even the best players in the world, they get nervous.
Owen Scoggins is in for bogey. And Missy for the par. You're not going to miss anything. We're going to be right back after this commercial break.
Hi, I'm Andrew Marweed, and for the last 3 years, I've been one of the top putters in the world. I chose the DGA Steady for its straight, consistent flight path and the confidence it gives me on the green. Plus, it comes in both beaded and beadless versions with a wide variety of plastics. I prefer the Stone Steady BL, but you can find your Steady at discgolf.com.
His father was a tongsman. His father's father was a tongsman. His father's mother was a tongsman. No tongsman chooses this life. No. This life chooses them over and over. Throw on the Johnsonville sausage. Calling all tongsmen.
This is Latitude 64. The smallest of grains handled with the greatest passion. Always trying to improve, always trying to be better. Out of curiosity, excitement, thrill. For the player and the sport. Because we want to make disc golf awesome for you.
Check out the whole lineup at ClashDisc.com.
I mean, it's literally the most popular disc of all time in the history of the sport. At its core, it's one of the most important tools a player has in their bag, a dependable, straight-flying mid-range. But the legacy of the Buzz goes a lot deeper than just that.
Welcome back as we are heading over to hole number 6. Looks like the crowd and gallery is into it and ready to go. Well, my math tells me $78,000 to be given away today to these 4 women. What an incredible moment in our sport. Missy Gannon on the tee, your current leader at 1 under.
We head uphill on hole 6. Missy Gannon nails the tee shot. It measures just 242 feet, but with that uphill climb, it's more like 300 to the pin.
That's pulled to the right, but it looks like it's going to sneak through, gets a late kick. And Kristen Tatar looking to put her first birdie on her scorecard. Scoggins trying to bring that one in, and she'll do so. Looks like closest to the pin thus far. Valerie's going to need a bounce back in a big way here. She does get a kiss off the tree on that right side. Another close shave by Barbasol. And speaking of Barbasol, crucial in giving us this $302,000 total purse. I mentioned it earlier, $78,000 to be given away today. $35,000 for first, $20,000 for second, $14,000 for third, and our final competitor who finishes in fourth will take home $9,000.
And that could just be a matter of stroke per positioning. And so think of how impactful that is, that you are putting up the best round that you can today, because one stroke could mean $15,000 or so.
And I'm going to go ahead and say $35,000. That used to be a career, or should I say a career high in a annual earnings for competitors in the FPO division years ago. As Valarie Mundahano bounces back after the double bogey, she picks up the birdie on 6. with force. Gannon answers. 2 for 2 on birdies on 6 thus far. Kristen keeps the birdie train rolling for the card. Owen Scoggins with the tap in, and that's a star frame. Now heading over to the very difficult hole number 7, which is brought to us by VII and Diameter Apparel. 375 feet down this tunnel, Val.
Yeah, you gotta hit the gap, and at that distance, these players are throwing full-out drives to make sure that they can get it far enough, but it's all about distance control. When you get closer to the basket, right at the pin is when it starts to drop off dramatically downhill. So anything that's hitting 5 feet short or near the pin goes sailing long. And that's not just on tee shots, that's on approaches as well. And I think the best game plan, if you're not inside the circle, you should lay up. This is a very treacherous green.
And although we just have the one card of competitors on the course today, things moving a little bit slower. There's that much more of a gallery, everyone getting into position and ready to go. And we have the star frame on hole number 6. Oftentimes you hear commentators and players talk about must-get birdie holes. Hole 6 certainly fits into that category. All 4 women rising to the occasion. Now, hole number 7. That will be low and likely a pitch up to the basket for Missy Gannon. Right side looked like it hung up on the side of the hill, but we'll confirm with Zoe. We saw that coming in hot, Zoe. Did it roll all the way down the hill or did it check up?
No, Terry, that one actually checked up just about at basket height, maybe just a couple feet past, but she's got a side hill bid for it. Actually, it's quite obstructed, but still a very good chance to get to the base of the pin.
Appreciate the insight as we saw Owen Scoggins hit left side fairway. A little bit short. And that's turned over for Valarie. So, albeit maybe a little out of position, looks like Kristen Tatar is going to have the longest drive.
Yeah, there's a couple up shots.
What a daunting shot here on hole number 7. And then also the steep drop-off that's directly behind the basket. Val, we feel like everyone's getting off to a little bit of a slow start, but maybe the star frame on 6 will get them going?
Well, I feel like it comes to a screeching halt after seeing these tee shots on hole 7. But it was, yeah, the momentum was starting, the excitement was happening, the crowd was excited to see birdies. But hole 7, nobody but Kristen has a decent shot. And so not only is it going to make it challenging to even lay it up to the pin, they have to be conservatively aggressive to get it close because you don't want to leave these up shots short.
Huge drop-off directly behind the pin. We've seen it punish a number of players this weekend. Owens is coming in hot, and it starts to roll, and that is heading down the hill for Owen Scoggins. Exactly what you were just talking about, Val.
I have not seen a shot come in that fast and just check up halfway on the hillside. As soon as it's going past that hill, it is down to the bottom, and they have at least a 50-foot putt, and it is so steep to putt that shot back up to the basket. And the last thing you want to do is to have to save yourself from the bottom of that hill.
See if Missy has the right control and touch. It's nice and low, just trying to play the skip. It's a little too light, though. That is a very dangerous putt she'll be left with. She's just inside the circle with nothing but air behind the basket.
And she knows. She knows that wasn't enough. But when the nerves are high, it is tough to get those touch shots perfectly executed. And this is the time to get that upshot as close as possible. Take some pressure off of a putt.
A little bit closer for Mundahano. Still a somewhat stressful putt.
What a phenomenal crowd that we have here in one of the disc golf meccas of the world here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, and I'll follow that up by saying that the Charlotte Disc Golf Club, who has played host to us for a couple of years now during the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, have been nothing short of amazing and incredible. More than 750 active club members, course designers, along with course stewards, Mark Huther, the rest of the club. I know Karen Hawks is out there. So many people putting forth a tremendous effort to make our Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship everything it is and then some over these last few years. Scoggins pitches up to the right side, hoping not to draw any metal there on purpose so that it doesn't roll back down the hill. We've seen that throughout this weekend. So Scoggins looking at a bogey. Here's Kristen now finally throwing her second. This will just be a pitch. Just trying to lay it in front of the basket. Perfectly executed.
Missy has to make this. Likely any misses will go sailing down the hill.
Oh, and Missy hits low and it gets up and rolls. You see it, that's more than 40 or 50 feet for Gannon. And just like hole one, we saw Missy low, which is so uncharacteristic. She's such a solid putter, confident and firm. Today, 2 low missed putts. This one, so punishing.
And I don't doubt her for going for that putt. She's inside the circle. She needed to run it. But this is the huge risk that can happen. And in another camera angle, I watched the faces of the people in the crowd. These are the locals that play this course. They know how risky these putts are when you're looking at the basket, and that's all you can see. And knowing the missed putt can get up on edge and roll down the hill.
Valarie steps up from closer range and puts in for the par. as Goggins taps in. Kristen is in, and Missy Gannon will no longer be your leader. She's going to fall back to even par. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back on the Disc Golf Network.
Power Grip is the only disc golf retailer operating in both Europe and the United States. We got our start in Finland in 2009, and now we've established Power Grip USA's online store, with retail stores still to come. Come see why we call ourselves a pretty good disc golf shop. Shop online at powergripusa.com. We're here to help.
What could we have here?
Fancy stuff here.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good quality, super stiff, pretty grippy too, I would say.
I think I would throw every disc in this plastic.
Air Spectrum is Prodigy's new line of premium lightweight discs in the mid-range, fairway, and distance driver models. You can now get beautiful bursts of color no matter your preferred weight. Bag one today at prodigydisc.com.
The Millennium Scorpius is a 12-speed overstable distance driver. It's one of the best ultra-long distance drivers in the game today. Go grab one today at golfdisc.com.
Kristen Tatar looking confident early. That is now 8 straight birdies.
Kristen has nothing to lose.
Tatar from the circle's edge for birdie. Punctuation mark on a dominant week in Emporia. Kristen Tatar, for the first time since 2004, a European champion at the Worlds.
Come out.
Play disc golf.
And let it fly with Lone Star discs.
And as we take a look, plenty of score shifting in these last couple of holes. Everyone did get the birdie on 6, but Gannon double bogey on hole 7. Own bogey on 7. All the way to the catch cam for Kristen Tatar. What a shot. Perfectly lined up in the fairway.
Beautiful pull from Valarie. And goes past Kristen, making the catch cam turn around.
Even better.
That's incredible. On the left-hand side, what a good distance. You want to get near that bridge or past to be in a good spot.
tree hit for Missy. Taking another look at Valarie Mondahano.
Nice and straight, and then at the very end, hyzering back into the fairway, past Kristen's disc, and you can see she's got an open run up. She's got an open look at the pin. Can she throw another accurate shot and give herself a chance at a birdie on this par 4?
Well, and speaking of chances, of all the brackets that were filled out, 76% of them have picked Kristen Tatar to win the tournament. Owen Scoggins picked 6% of the time, Missy Gannon 2%, and Valarie 2%. So Kristen Tatar clearly the heavy favorite here. Of all the brackets filled out, 76% thinking Kristen is going to take it down. Right now, she is your leader through the first 7 holes.
Kristen's game is looking rock solid. She's hitting the lines in the woods, but playing on these very tight wooded courses, it just makes the game of golf so unpredictable. Anything can literally happen on any shot for any one of these players.
Good shot by Missy. That does get a late kick and a roll, but she should be able to get up and down from there to save the par.
And that's kind of what I was just talking about. It was a great shot from Missy. She made it so far down the fairway, but as it finished, checking up on that tree, brought the disc vertical, and sent it rolling off into the woods.
Scoggins with a very narrow window she must hit.
She hits it.
Does it have the distance? And that's going to keep her short. So she may have a long-range putt. More than likely just a pitch from there. Owen Scoggins trying to escape with a par here on 8.
In order to get the birdie on hole 8, you need 2 great shots. You need the full flight of 2 great shots down the woods to give yourself an inside the circle look. Kristen and Valarie are in the most ideal position to make that happen. Kristen releases a little bit early, but finds its way through the trees. She's long of the pin. Definitely getting a little lucky on that left-hand side. It could have easily hit any one of those hundreds of trees and left her short. But
yeah.
She still has a great look.
Zoe confirms that she'll be open for that look and pin high. Great speed by Mondahano. She's trying to pick up a birdie here on 8.
Thank you. And build a little bit of confidence. She's currently sitting in 4th place with a bogey and a double bogey on her scorecard. I was worried this was a little high out of her hand. With that hyzer release, I wasn't sure she was going to get the distance, but it was perfectly thrown. And this has been a breakout year for Valarie Mondahano. Coming out with the win at Waco early in the season, that was her chance to finally prove to herself that she can win, and she can win under pressure. Was Owen running that? It was certainly online. That's the thing with Owen. You can never counter out, no matter how far she is away from the basket or how obstructed the putt may look. Owen is one of those sneaky players, and I think that's why the crowd chose Owen with a slight advantage over Missy and Valarie. Those two players, they're consistent, but Owen, she can come out of nowhere.
And by a long shot, Owen Scoggins is having her best year. Of course, taking down the Disc Golf Pro Tour Match Play Championship over in Colorado. And picking up a couple of major victories in the FP40 division. When it was all said and done, she finishes 4th here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Now Missy Gannon, a small window, and hits one of the trees directly in front of her, and she's still in danger here on 8. Gannon to try and save par. So Missy, who had struggled on hole number 7, now comes back to 8 and is looking at a bogey, likely moving to 1 over for her round. Kristen currently sitting at 1 under, trying to double that. Tatar for birdie on 8. And Tatar cashes it in. The birdie on 8 brings Kristen to 2 under.
And Kristen's just putting herself in position, giving herself an opportunity to make these putts. She's working hard to get to the basket, but even working harder with the putter.
And Valarie Mondahano picks up the birdie. She's birdied 2 out of the last 3.
Quite the momentum shift where Missy Gannon looked so in control. The story has changed up in these last 2 holes.
Take another look at Kristen. Her birdie attempt. That patented straddle putt by Tatar finds the bottom of the basket. She is your outright leader. She's got a 2-stroke advantage over Valarie Mondahano, 3 over Scoggins, as well as Missy Gannon.
These scores are so stacked up. There's no clear leader. And even when down to it, we need to get to the last couple of holes to really know what the story will tell us.
Good friends, Ella Hansen, James Conrad out there taking in the action, along with Jordan. If you can't be a competitor, you're certainly going to be out there as a fan. Gordy out there taking in the action as well.
Gordy's just there for the treats.
Such
Who are
a
we
good
kidding?
boy.
That's what you're here for, too.
I am. We are being treated to a show today. $78,000 on the line in one round of disc golf as we close out our 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour campaign. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you to Barbasol, our presenting sponsor. Tree free for Kristen Tatar.
Wow. What a shot. Leaving it far to the right-hand side, but using the entire fairway space.
Valarie trying to match it. And she does, this time just behind Kristen's drive. And similar to what we just saw by Gannon, that one hits a late tree, pops up, and then rolls to the other side of the fairway. This time not nearly as punishing as what we saw from Gannon last hole. Gannon, deep breath, trying to calm the nerves. She's going to have to bounce back. She's taken double bogey and bogey over the last 2 holes. And hits an early tree, which kicks her to the right side of the fairway.
And hole 9, it's the first of 3 par 5s out here at Nevin. You can see from the course map on the right-hand side of our screen, the tee shot is a nice, smooth backhand drive, but you want to make sure that you're putting enough power on it that it's pushing forward, and it's a slow finish at the end. This is about where we see the drives from Valarie and Kristen getting to this edge, and then as this fairway finishes up, it continues heading through this very narrow gap, but it finishes off to the right. So the tee shot, the preferred shot, is the backhand shot. The second shot, a forehand, will do the trick to get this perfect angle to punch through the trees. It's another one of these holes where you want the full flight out of every disc that you throw. You need to just gain distance to give yourself a look at par, or if you have a chance and you're in good position, you can get the birdie.
Patent pending stance from Gannon pushes her now to the left side of the fairway. And speaking of the fairways, I'm going to throw it out to Zoe. We're seeing all the gallery kind of rushing from spot to spot. First of all, I hope you don't get run over. And second of all, how is it in terms of all these gallery members watching the action in this tight wooded course?
Yeah, Terry, Nevin does not provide a whole lot of extra room for spectators, so the crowd control is at an all-time must and high for the DGPT staff and volunteers, because we have an excellent sized gallery for this very exciting round today. So definitely having to keep the spectator ropes clear and extra mindful on where people's positioning are so that we do not affect the players.
Being treated to a show as we're watching Owen Scoggins with her forehand approach, center of the fairway.
Being on this left-hand side for Missy really tightens in the gap that she has to hit. Remember, this carries off straight into the left, so she has to put an Anheuser angle on this forehand shot and hope that it doesn't roll when it lands on the ground. Valarie makes her way around the corner and now has the straight look down toward the basket. She might have gone a little bit too long to be in the great spot.
And the mistake here by Kristen, hitting the tree directly in front of her. Not too punishing of a kick. It could have been much worse, but we'll likely see another forehand. She'll still have a small window to hit now from the right side of the fairway. Moment of shock and awe here in the booth as we saw Kristen hit the tree on the previous throw. She's been very clean throughout. She has missed a couple of putts low, but outside of that, she's been very consistent here today. And watching her throw her forehand, you almost always count on it turning out to be a good shot.
But in these woods, you're always riding that fine line of can you execute the shot? Is likely we're going to see every one of these players hit first available, find themselves in a shocking position, regardless of if they were in the perfect spot or not. Every single shot requires so much focus, strategy. Owen talking it out with her husband Justin and bringing 2 discs to her lie. What a great shot from Owen. She will be basket high looking at her birdie. Missy has the distance to get to the basket from here, but this is a tricky shot. It would take a miracle for her to save par from here.
Needs to continue to turn over from right to left, and instead it drifts out. But she gets a kick off of one of the trees, and this time in her favor as it rolls toward the basket.
That was as good as it gets from where she was. For the fact to fight through the trees on the left-hand side and then the bonus roll toward the basket. She must have hugged a few trees before this round because the woods seemed to be on her side.
See a patent pending stance coming from Valarie Mondahano. And Val hits the tree directly in front of her, but it still carries forward. What a fortunate break for Mondahano. Take another look at it. And just the slightest bank off of the tree. See if Kristen can get up and down and save her par. And the answer is yes, Kristen. So even after hitting a tree on her second shot, Tatar will be saving the 5 here, and she will remain at 2 under halfway through. I'm going to throw it out to Zoe for a moment. Zoe, Val was just saying we've got 3 par 5s out here. Do you feel like any one is more attackable than another?
Yeah, as you can see there, this par 5 is creating so much difficulty and challenge corner after corner. All of our players are up here on the green, but Val has kind of a decision to make right now. Will she just pitch it up, or will she try to hyzer around the trees that are framing up her putt attempt? So much difficulty, and it's really all about the risk, reward, and confidence level now.
Mondahano off the mark with her bid. Missy Gannon for par on 9. So Gannon, who's been on a little roller coaster for the last few holes, taking birdie on 6, double bogey on 7, a bogey on 8, comes back on the par 5 9th and cards the par. This is Owen Scoggins for birdie. Owen in, and she will come back to even par. She'll be 2 behind our leader in Kristen. The comeback putt for Valarie is to the right. She misses. She's going to put a bogey on her scorecard. Valarie will go to 1 over. Kristen taps in. She has a 2-stroke lead halfway through. Exciting conclusion on the other side of this commercial break.
Behind every face is a story, unique, each and every one. Beautiful stories, inspiring stories, some beyond our wildest dreams. And every day, a new story begins. We salute every fearless, self-assured, undeterred, hopeful face all across America. Here's to the next 100 years. Barbasol.
My name's Garrett Gerthy. People may know me as Double G, and I've been making Double G craft jerky since I was 16 years old.
When I have Double G's craft jerky and I pull it out of my bag during a round, the first thing anyone asks is that Double G's craft jerky? And I always bring the big bag because I know I'm gonna have to share it.
I'm a big fan of beef jerky, and I have to say that Double G beef jerky is absolutely my favorite I've ever found.
I'm always looking forward to digging my hand in my next bag of Double G craft jerky.
You can find Double G craft jerky at doublegjerky.com.
Yes. The universal feeding call of the tongsman. 2 clacks, never just one. Sausage is ready. Throw on the Johnsonville sausage. Calling all tongsmen.
And welcome back, everyone. The remainder of today's coverage will be brought to you commercial-free thanks to our presenting sponsor, Barbasol.
Hot tea.
As we head into the back 9, starts off with this gauntlet hole here on 10, 320 feet. You see the shot at hand, all about keeping it nice and straight, even on the finish.
And nice and straight this is. Kristen Tatar lacing the fairway. That'll be a tap-in birdie for Kristen. Missy Gannon asking for that to flip up, and instead it hits a tree. A tough kick to the left. Missy Gannon way out of position here on 10. It's turning over, a late tree kick in her favor. Valarie trying to bounce back from the bogey on 9. And Kristen Tatar comes into the back 9 with a 2-stroke lead, steps up and throws this pure shot all the way down the fairway. Coming up just short, skipping all the way to the pin. And talk about putting pressure on her competitors in hole 10 all year long, brought to us by Eric. Early recognition is critical. They're the official Cancer Prevention Network, teamed up with the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the Disc Golf Network. Val, 320 feet down the fairway. I'm not sure we need an overview as much as just watching what Kristen did. I feel like the key to this hole is keeping it low, so if you are off the mark, you don't get too much of a kick to the left or to the right. You want to come in short and then skip the rest of the way to the pin, exactly as we saw from Kristen. Now, Owen Scoggins has work to do.
Ooh, Ooh, and she does it well. Owen had a row of trees directly in front of her to fight back to the fairway. And the hardest part, if you're off the fairway on this and you're forced to throw that up shot, no matter what side of the fairway you're on, it makes that angle so narrow. Just a pure tunnel shot, putting so much emphasis on a good drive. Missy had a window, and she was playing that aggressive jump putt style, trying to give it a run. And there's no danger on the green of hole 10. If you have a look at the basket and you know that your competitor's underneath the pin, you might as well give it a run. And as consistent as Valarie Mondujano is on the putting green, today it looks a little off. It is not too late for her to gain some confidence, but she cannot talk herself out of it.
As Missy is in for her par. Missy setting the single season women's record last year for her earnings at over $67,000. This year, Kristen, coming into this tour championship, already has earned $68,000 and change. And with a $35,000 check, she could go to setting the overall record for cash earnings of any division.
What a year to just shred. Kristen Tatar has stepped up in such a big way, winning the largest events with the largest payouts, and this would just be the cherry on top to finish off the season.
So impressive what she's done. And I'm going to add on to that. She actually missed playing in the European Open. She missed playing in that major. Of course, we don't know where she would have finished, but you know she would have likely performed well and probably even added a significant amount to her overall winnings on the year. So Kristen Tatar, who's never finished off the podium here in 2022, it feels like the year of Kristen and then some.
And Terry, I'll add on to that, she also missed playing women's nationals. The U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship she was not present at. That's another major. But for every other Elite Series event she's shown up to, she has either won or placed on the podium.
Sounds like on the ground there's a quick restroom break that's taking place as our competitors are heading into the last 8 holes of competition. Kristen Tatar now a 3-stroke lead. Bogey-free, 3 under. She had that putt to save her par on hole number 4. Hole number 8, she picked up the birdie. She had to do a little bit of scrambling on 9, but ultimately was able to walk away with a par. And this drive just moments ago. Perfection by Kristen. She's 3 under, 3 strokes clear of Owen Scoggins.
And knowing that these are the final holes of your season, Kristen should kick in that kind of world championship mentality. Don't look back. You have a a 3-stroke lead at this point, but you need to keep charging forward. You need to be in that position of aggressive attack, and don't stop until that putt is in the basket on hole 18.
And Kristen has openly discussed how she is homesick. She's ready to get home. It has been a long season. Kristen has a daughter and is very much missing her daughter and her family. So trying to close out on a high note here. Looks like we're ready to go. This is the shortest hole in competition here at the Matt Keatts Memorial Course. Just 202 feet, a steep drop off directly behind the pin. And Kristen just outside the circle, almost pin high with it.
Challenge of this tee shot is just how narrow that gap is immediately off the tee. Oh, going with the standstill to be more accurate.
Oh, and a great kick off the tree. So Owen Scoggins inside the circle. I love this. Missy Gannon's going to love it even more. That will be a tap-in birdie for Gannon. Standstill by Mundahano. And doesn't make it through. A little frustration here from Valarie as she quickly moves up the fairway. We're going to take another look at Missy Gannon. Hits the uprights perfectly, comes in just short, right at circle's edge, and then skips up to the pin. No putting required for Gannon. We're talking about that edge. I'm going to throw it out to Zoe for a moment. Zoe, we saw what hole 7 offers in terms of a steep slope directly behind the basket. Compare the one we see here on 11 to what we see on 7.
Yeah, Terry, we've got about double the drastic elevation drop or gain if you're at the bottom. Basically, the player's going to have to tilt their head all the way back and aim almost up over the basket if they even want to have a prayer to make it. It's about the most drastic elevation green we've ever seen on the tour.
Appreciate it, Zoe, and we saw how that punished Missy Gannon earlier. How she ultimately walked away with the double bogey. Here on 11, no putting required. Kristen Tatar has openly talked about how aggressive she is on the putting green. This is a big moment. She's sitting on a 3-stroke lead. This does not appear to be a layup here, Val. And a solid bid by Kristen. Understandably coming up just a bit short, a little tentative, knowing the slope is directly behind her. But she was looking to add on to that lead. And a great birdie by Owen Scoggins.
And there's something about being inside the circle, putting on these baskets. You feel the pressure to go for it. And the pressure is off there as Valarie taps in her bogey. And as easy as putting gets, Missy Gannon for the birdie.
And with that, we're going to head over to hole number 12. And what are they looking at here, Val?
Hole 12, it's a par 3, about 350 feet, and there's two ways to attack this tee shot. You can go on the right-hand side, play the sidearm shot, or the slow turnover on the left, bringing it off to the right, or there's the more direct route on the right-hand side. We see most of our players flying this route, trying to hit the perfect line in the trees, and it's one of those tee shots where you feel like you throw the most perfect line, but you have to hold your breath until you see it land next to the basket, because late tree kicks are very possible.
And what was a 3-stroke lead a few moments ago has now been reduced to just 2. Owen Scoggins picking up the birdie on 11. Missy Gannon also picking up the birdie. That'll bring her within 3. And Valarie Mondahano adds a bogey to her scorecard. She sits at 2 over. Favorable kick for Owen, even though she squared up with a tree. Missy also finds a tree. Two-thirds of the way down the fairway.
Yeah, well, not underneath the pin. She got a good amount of distance.
And Val, although not with enough turnover on it, does have the cleanest shot of the group. Scoggins with the forehand. And as she said, she'll take it.
I know that disc golf is working out really well for Owen, but if she finds some free time, I think she can do some stand-up comedy.
She certainly can.
She is such a character and always positive. And I think that's what really makes Owen that fierce competitor, because no matter what, no matter if she hits the first tree, she could laugh about it, move on, and now she's focused on the next shot.
She could also join in anytime they have a roast, because when she does get going, she has no problem talking trash. And there she is. What a recovery shot off the pin. Owen Scoggins will have a tap-in par. And of course she's going to flex on us. Owen Scoggins loving it.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. Shortest tee shot, completely out of position, and then, yeah, I'll hit the basket. Owen is so sneaky good. And just like that, she is going to have an easy drop-in par. And while attempting the right-hand side gap, early tree kick, Missy now has to throw the forehand on the left-hand side.
Leaves are a makeable putt, but Missy Gannon will be working hard for a par here. Solid approach for Kristen. She'll be inside the circle for her par look. Kristen, the only competitor to have not carded a bogey or worse during this round. Clean scorecard thus far through 11 holes.
And Udisk is showing just one moment where Kristen had to scramble, and she was able to capitalize on that. She's just been throwing great shots and making it work in the woods.
And a brutal roll here for what looked like a perfect approach shot. Catches a little bit of edge and then rolls away, and I feel like that kind of summarizes what we've seen for Valarie Mondahano so far today. Just not a lot going for her. She seems to be a little bit off her mark. And you had insult to injury there with a roll away that was completely unnecessary. Long look for par from Missy Gannon. Calling for it, but she'll quickly erase the birdie that she picked up on 11. Missy Gannon, a bogey on 12.
If Valarie can get this in for par, she can take back a stroke on Missy.
She's done just that. Kristen for par on hole 12. Online. Perfect speed, height, control, everything. Kristen looks in full control right now. And for what feels like the scramble of the day thus far, Owen Scoggins in for the par 3 on 12. Nobody having more fun out there than Owen Scoggins. Thanks to our friends at Paragon Disc Golf. We'll take a look at our notable statistics. Anytime you see yourself with color of blue or dark blue, that means you are leading the category or a front runner in it. And Owen Scoggins, no surprise seeing her 100% C1X thus far. Kristen, however, leading a couple of the other significant categories. Fairway hit, circle 1 in regulation. So impressive to see Owen Scoggins, though, out in front on the putting. No shock if you're an FPO fan here. Scoggins trying to force the forehand over, and that looks like a terrible kick to the left side.
Hole 13 is a backhand shot off of this tee pad. It's a slow turn off to the left, the very narrow tunnel. Kristen leaves it a little on the inside. She's on the left-hand side.
Low, but up the middle for Mondahano.
Valerie's always a speedy player, but she has picked up the pace in her routine. And I think that's trying to get everything back on track. Take her mind out of it and lock it in.
And you see the big sigh, big deep breath there by Missy Gannon before throwing, knowing that she's trying to hit the tunnel, and that's also short left side.
And with this tee shot, it is just very tight tunnel right off the bat. And these players, they know it's a par 4. They know they have to get a full power drive off of that tee shot. And so it takes off a little bit of the accuracy because they don't have a lot of space to work with. We've got our players off of the fairway here, but we'll see if they have a line to attack the green. As we get through this, there's a few guardian trees right in front of the basket before you get out into that open space. So they're really going to have to put these second shots to work if they want to get the birdie, but they should line themselves up for a relatively gettable par. And this is a longer pin than the men play, 520 feet.
Trying to fight back to the fairway. Kristen and Silver just patiently waiting. Now Missy Gannon with her second. Great shot for Missy.
She's in circle 2. The trees start to space out near the green, so she could have a look for a birdie.
No problem lacing it up the fairway. Incredible to think you've thrown 2 shots on 13 and have not hit a tree. I think that in itself is an accomplishment. Carving it around the tree. Kristen, solid forehand approach shot. She'll have a long look at birdie.
And she executed the plan exactly to what her and Silver were talking about as she was lining up this shot. But what a extreme play. Going on the right-hand side of that huge tree, trusting your disc is going to fight its way back at the very end. It just goes to show how much power she has in the standstill shot, that she can still utilize all the strength in her body. Own squaring it up with the tree. Missed that, and she were likely to be inside the circle.
Zoe's out near the green here on 13. Any assessment of the putts that we're going to see in a moment here, Zoe?
Yeah, Terry, both of those zones that Missy will see putting from here are a straddle out stance at best, and we're on the back side of circle 2. So very low percentage chance, but still yet an opportunity if they can connect.
Missy Gannon, as Zoe just said, a long look at birdie.
Doing what she can with what she has. She's been quite a distance from the pin on these last two C2 looks. And again, Valarie is just one stroke back of Missy. That's a $5,000 stroke. She needs to keep her mind in it.
And Scoggins just barely short. Doesn't convert from circle 2. So Kristen Tatar, just shy of 11 meters, has a birdie look to extend her lead. And Kristen, with a smile on her face, trying to yet control her emotions, moving in to retrieve the putt on 13. She moves to 4 under and will be 5 clear of Owen Scoggins in a moment. Gannon in for the par. I believe I stand corrected. She is 5 clear of Gannon. Owen Scoggins is going to take the bogey and will be 4 back of Kristen. Once in a while, I'll take a bogey here in the booth, Val. It's been a long season. Right now, Tatar in full control. 5 holes left to play. A 4-stroke lead. This putt for birdie. Connecting on 13. Your world champ trying to set the all-time record for earnings from any disc golfer. That putt will help.
It is giving me flashbacks of what she did at the World Championships. She was so locked in, and she said any time that she could see the basket, she was going to be aggressive with her putter, and that's what kind of mind frame she needs to be in right now. It's not the World Championship title, but it is the Tour Championship and the largest paycheck that the sport has ever seen. That's about as good as it gets.
A very, very late tree kick there for Kristen. And I'll ask Val, of course, we've got a lot of wooded golf to play. This thing is far from over, but at a certain point when you have this much of a comfortable lead and you seem to be in control, does the pressure let off whatsoever?
The pressure is still there, and it should be that driving force to make you focus in on every shot. And that's, on a course like this, it's always going to be pressure filled, no matter if it's the drive or the putt. And so you have to kind of get comfortable in the uncomfortable. But the pressure's always there.
Move forward.
Missy filters her way through. 366 feet to the basket. Slight turn, left to right, and Owen doesn't even make it halfway down the fairway. Going to be forced to scramble yet again. The course, I said, it does provide a lot of pressure, but if you're throwing the shots that you have set up in your game plan and you've practiced, there's some sort of relief. And think about how much easier this course is playing when you're throwing a good tee shot. In comparison, look at what Owen has to deal with.
Owen currently a one-stroke advantage over Missy Gannon. Gannon also appears to be out of position here on 14. And this is a great shot coming in for Owen. It looks like a par recovery here for Owen Scoggins coming up. That would keep her at even. Now, Kristen, a good spot on the fairway. And she connects with a tree, so a mistake there by Tatar. And as we're checking the record books, Kristen would be the first FPO competitor who's come in as the #1 seed to then take down the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship. The first one since Sarah Hokum did so in 2018. Telling us that over the last few years we've seen a number of upsets. Kristen Tatar says, no, I've earned this #1 seed. I want to maintain it throughout, and I want to walk away here the champion. Right now she's in great position to do so. Gannon also scrambling. That'll give her a chance to save the par. Kristen in threat of picking up her first bogey if she doesn't convert here from 16 meters to tar for par. And so that will be Kristen's first blemish on her scorecard. Dejano for birdie, trying to gain a few strokes back, and that is going to be short and left. So Valarie doesn't take advantage.
Missy is just inside the circle, and she's got that one last tree to beat. See, she executes the line perfectly and needed that extra power to continue that straight flight path because of the narrow window. That one skinny tree in her way.
And that par by Valarie Mondahano will knot her up with Missy Gannon at 2 over, as Missy will be tapping in for a bogey in a few moments. Owen Scoggins is going to pull one closer to Kristen. She's going to walk away with a par. She'll remain at even. Meanwhile, Kristen, with her only bogey of the day, will fall back to 3 under par. And with just 4 holes left to play, our friends at blackinkdisc.com, the premium disc golf store, they help us provide you with Val's keys for closing.
Well, Terry, it starts off on the tee pad. You need to execute your game plan, throw that aggressive line, hit that tee shot. It's going to make it much easier to finish off on these last few holes. If you find yourself off the fairway, you need to make a decision whether you're going to pitch out or if you have a chance to scramble and save yourself. And when it all comes down to it, you need to get the putter in the basket. And regardless of the distance, there's going to be so much pressure on every one of these finishing putts, regardless if you're in the lead like Kristen Tatar or you're trying to make a comeback. Every putt is worth thousands of dollars. Every position as they finish off, thousands of dollars. So there's a whole lot of pressure on it.
We got a whole lot of golf to play with 2 par 5s and 2 par 4s that remain. What are they doing here on 15?
So hole 15, 630 feet, excuse me. It has such an interesting shape to it. You see the very narrow fairway. They need to stay down the fairway. And this is one of those situations. If you're a little bit off, is it worth it to try and be the hero, or should you just pitch out back to the middle of the fairway and get yourself in position? It's going to require 2 full out shots to get yourself in position to birdie this hole. And with a narrow fairway, I think birdie is the best scenario.
And speaking of positioning and fairways, as we're watching a number of our gallery members all try to find the best spot, Valarie Mondahano connects with a tree here on the tee of 15. Valarie all tied up at the moment with Missy Gannon. They're sitting at +2. Owen Scoggins sitting at even. A little island of her own at the moment. Owen 2 clear of 3rd, but 3 back of 1st. Your leader, Kristen Tatar, tee of 15. All right, we'll see Kristen get just past Owen's drive. Another similar drive in that collection spot on the fairway. And as we're looking at Kristen Tatar and what she's been doing, yes, she did just pick up her lone bogey, but she has a 3-stroke lead. I mentioned it, 2 par 5s, 2 par 4s. How do you like her chances right now, Val? Is she catchable?
I think she's catchable. That with just 3 strokes, we've seen the 2-stroke swings happen on any given hole. And so I think if she's on 18 with a 3-stroke lead, she can feel confident just to finish out with a par. But there are still so many things that can happen here in the woods. All it takes is one bad tree kick from Kristen, and she could find herself in trouble.
Great second shot by Valarie Mandahano.
Where? Come back around. There's a door, please. Yeah, I was like, hold on.
Zoe, we find 3 shots in a very similar area. How do you like their chances, and how attackable is it from where they're at?
I'm glad you mentioned it, Terry. Although it's a similar collection zone, Kristen is in the best position to attack, whereas Missy and Owen still have a little bit of, I guess, working the disc to do up the fairway just to stay in the center of the fairway, where we have this long hallway that's very small landing zone. They must connect.
Appreciate it, Zoe, as we're seeing Owen do exactly as Zoe just described, keeping it in the middle of the fairway, not veering left or right. And Missy, you see that this one tree may come into play for her more so than the other 2 that we saw by or that we'll see by Kristen or Owen.
And it looks like Missy's lining up to throw on the right-hand side of that tree. She hits the gap, but there was just not enough airspace, and there wasn't enough space in the fairway to allow that disc to turn to the right. I would have preferred the left-hand gap just to know that you can get your shot into the fairway. Now Missy's off on the left.
Feel like she got away with one there. She pulled that one to the left side, and it continued to carry forward for her. That could have been far more punishing, Val.
That's for sure. And there was no solid connection with the tree. You could hear the leaves and you can hear it fighting through the bushes, but she didn't hit a tree that would redirect her in any way. So I think it worked out pretty well. Even though Valarie has open stance, open arm swing, no trees in the way, this is a tough angle. And seeing her go for the sidearm, she's going to use the right-hand side. A lot more space to maneuver a sidearm. But she left it too high. Connects with the tree, and she's inside circle 2.
Doesn't appear that Valarie Mandahano is all dialed in. Not the way she was a few days ago, at least. And looks like some fans taking in the action, of course, when you come out and you're on site. At a Disc Golf Pro Tour event, you got to make sure you pick up some autographs there. I see Thomas Gilbert, Missy Gannon, Paige Pierce. Trying to make out what the top one was there. But awesome to be on site and grabbing some autographs.
Yeah.
Possibly Evelina Salonen. Missy Gannon's going to have to focus up here so that she can keep things as close as possible with just a few holes left to play.
Yep.
And as she's doing that, I'm taking a look at our UDisc win probabilities. And right now, as of this moment, UDisc has Kristen Tatar with a 95% win probability here through 14 holes. Owen Scoggins, 5%. The other two, less than 1%.
Missy leaves it to the left. She's going to still be outside the circle. And again, I'm questioning that second shot. I know she got farther down the fairway, but if she were to just throw that more open shot, it would have kept her in the middle with the more direct line like we see here from Owen. And not a great shot from Owen, but it seems to fight its way through the trees. She's directly behind one large tree, but she's around circle's edge. Kristen's on the edge of the woods. A powerful third shot, but she sits at circle's edge.
She'll still have a look for birdie. Valarie will be putting for par.
So Terry, knowing that the worst place that you can get in this event is 4th place, that kind of puts you in a good position to, when you know the scores, you can start being a little bit more aggressive. You've got nothing to lose in the 4th place spot. Maybe you go for the bigger putts that you wouldn't normally in a regular tournament.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see that play out, especially with how close Valarie and Missy are at the moment. That may play out in the final hole or two, whether that's 17 or 18, making a decision there as to if you're in that 4th place, you're back, you're going to be more aggressive. If that means giving it a big run or something of that nature, it's really all or nothing at that point. And Missy, and right next to the basket. So we'll see. We've seen some incredible throw-ins, and I think that's almost been a subset story here throughout this weekend, is the throw-ins that have been happening on hole number 17. Kat Murch from 70 feet, Sarah Holcomb from 170 feet. Yesterday, Holland Hanley from 209 feet. Hole 17's provided plenty of excitement, but here's Kristen Tatar for birdie. And maybe sharpening the dagger that she's getting ready to put down. Kristen Tatar for birdie on 15.
That That is one way to take control of the situation. Execute every shot. When you have a putt, you know you have to make it.
Owen needs this. And Owen will lose a stroke to Kristen. That's going to put her 4 back with 3 holes left to play. Valarie Mondahano for par. Center chain for Valarie. Missy taps in, and she'll remain all tied up with Mondahano. And Val, there have been 6 women to ever have a year full of podium finishes, and that's exactly what we're seeing from Kristen Tatar here in 2022. We're watching her from circle 2. Can the birdie putt, the ultimate bounce back after the bogey, but Kristen Tatar, an entire season of podium finishes. As I said, just 1 of 6. Of course, you being the 4-time Hall of Famer, you're one of those 6 as well.
And that just proves the consistency that she has had.
Juliana Korver, a 5-time world champ. Valarie, you've done it twice. Sarah Cunningham, our 2010 world champion. Of course, Katrina Allen and Des Redding have also both done it twice. So when you're talking about that consistency, that level of play throughout an entire season, to see you never finishing off the podium, I'm just going to say that almost seems ridiculous. That's insane. What consistency. Nice work.
Hey, thank you.
Now, Kristen, trying to build on her legacy. And a near perfect tee shot by Tatar on 16.
Valarie gets kicked off to the right after hitting on the left. The fairway shape here is just a big swooping right to left. Par 4, almost 650 feet. You need a great tee shot here, but that tee shot needs to get you in the middle of the fairway so you can have a full run up on your second shot.
I like the line as she matches the effort by Tatar. Great tee shot from Missy Gannon. We're going to take a look back at some of the work Kristen's been doing throughout this round. And great to see that she does it with backhand, forehand, putting, inside C1X, there a C2 putt. She really is the complete package, your world champion, Kristen Tatar. Trying to pull away from the rest of the card en route to a $35,000 first place prize.
Valarie forced to throw a standstill shot. Gets full power on that one. And the second part of this fairway really opens up. It gets much larger. The trees are spaced out. And so if you are slightly on either side of the fairway, you have more room to work with on hole 16. Owen keeps it down the middle.
And Zoe, I know we've had some very nice weather conditions over the last few days. What do you think's in store for the rest of this round and maybe even this afternoon?
Yeah, Terry, it's absolutely beautiful conditions. There is no wind in the air whatsoever. And I think it's the hottest day we've had yet. So basically the perfect conditions for these players to finish this championship final round.
We have been very blessed this week as Missy Gannon's throwing her second on 16. That is short for Gannon. Zoe had also reported that the positioning for both Gannon and Tatar is nearly perfect on these drives, so that's going to be quite a mistake for Missy to not be getting up and down from there for the birdie. We'll see if Kristen can improve. Had she missed that tree, I think she would have been inside the circle, but Tatar have an easy pitch up from there, or maybe even an aggressive bid from that distance. Either way, par at worst case scenario.
And knowing Missy's out of position for the birdie, unless she throws it in from where she's at, Valarie takes advantage, throws a great upshot, and she's going to be able to save her par with the putt.
Well, and at a certain point here, as we're closing out these last couple of holes, you look at the scores, you see that Owen Scoggins 4 back of Kristen. Quite the hill to climb over the next couple of holes. I don't see her picking up any ground on this hole, so likely 4 back with 2 to play, but she's 2 ahead of Valarie and 2 ahead of Missy. Do you go into some form of just protection or almost defense of that second place check, which is still $20,000?
I think Owen needs to still keep Kristen locked in, and that's what's going to put the pressure on her to make sure she's executing shots. Whenever you're in that kind of limbo zone of trying to maintain, that's when you kind of let off on yourself and you're not focused on what's at hand. There's still 2 very technical holes left to play, and she doesn't need any errors.
And Missy hits a late tree, and we're seeing, obviously, as they come in as the 5th and 6th seeds here at the Tour Championship, both Valarie Mondahano and Missy Gannon just feel like they're a little bit off of their mark today. They're not making a run here at Kristen for the title at this point, but both of them just somewhat off. Kristen will have the easy tap in. That'll keep her at 4 under. Missy Gannon to save par on 16. And that really is exactly what I was just talking about. Missy Gannon, you feel like 9 out of 10 times from that same spot, Missy Gannon is putting it in. And she's had a few of those opportunities today. and hasn't converted. It's just not what we expect to see out of Missy Gannon. An off day here during the finals. Here's Valarie Mondahano. This also for par. And with that, Missy is going to fall behind Valarie with 2 holes left to play. Gannon in for the bogey. Scoggins in for par, not gaining any ground on our leader in Kristen. Kristen now given a 99% win probability on U-Disc. Just 2 holes left to play, and this is what they're playing for. $35,000 first place for Kristen Tatar if she were to take it down, $20,000 in second, $14,000 for third, and $9,000 for fourth. And a moment ago, Valarie made the putt for par, and that's going to give her a 1-stroke advantage over our 2021 champion in Missy Gannon. So we're talking about a putt potentially coming down to $5,000 in these next couple of holes.
At minimum. Hole 17, par 4. There's an out-of-bounds line on the left-hand side, but it fades off after you attack into the woods. A good drive will get you around this point, but this is where the real action begins. Are you in a good enough position where you can get the next shot inside the circle? It is a very protected green, and it narrows in with a tight tunnel as we get closer to the basket. So as much distance as you can put on the tee shot, that's going to help you out for the next part of your hole, the rest of the hole. We know on the left-hand side it can be very challenging, and we've seen big stroke swings on this so far this weekend.
And hole 17 is brought to you by LL Bean, who believes that being outside is good for us in every possible way. Visit llbean.com today and be an outsider. Kristen on the tee of 17, just 2 holes left to play. A significant skip forward for Tatar.
Great shot from Valarie. Even drifting off to the right will get her in an even better position.
Valarie currently riding 5 consecutive pars in the last 5 holes. Here's Scoggins.
Does not punch through the trees.
And Missy Gannon with what appears to be the longest drive thus far. She is now 1 back of Valarie Mondahano. Again, a difference of $5,000 between 3rd and 4th. Find a couple of our players on that high left side. Zoe, can you tell us what the look will be from over on that left side?
Yeah, although it's well up the fairway, Terry, the left side has way more trees as you try to navigate the fairway to the green. So Tatar is going to have a difficult position, whereas Missy skipped in front of that big guardian tree, and she will have an open look at the backhand hyzer only. Val has a completely open look.
All right, we appreciate it. We saw how that left side can provide danger yesterday. Katrina Allen was needing to get up and down, and she struggled from the left side. And ultimately, it feels like hole 17 was the ending of her 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour campaign as she struggled and, I believe, walked away with a double bogey.
Own needs to force this shot over. She gets great height underneath it.
And misses almost everything as she'll be down on the lower right side of the fairway.
Knowing that Valerie's on that right-hand side with an open look, I hope she knows that she has to be aggressive. This is kind of that last gasp. Can she make something happen? Can she get herself in an even better positioning? Very similar to where we saw Katrina yesterday. And it just being on this left-hand side, you could see where the pin is, you could see the fairway, and it is so tempting to fight up that left-hand side if you find a window. The safer play, which maybe won't give you as much distance, would be for Kristen to go on the right-hand side, get back in the fairway.
And although it hit a tree, it still carries and drops into the center of the fairway. So Kristen will have a great chance to get up and down and save the par. And to clarify, yesterday, Katrina Allen needed to just go 1 under over the last 2 holes. That would have secured her position. She bogeyed here on 17. It wasn't a double, it was a bogey, but that pretty much ended her run to move into today's finals. Now, Valarie Mondahano.
The person to make it past Katrina yesterday was Valarie Mondahano. She didn't make the most of that second shot. Let's see what Missy can do.
Coming into today, Valarie Mondahano had her largest paycheck of the year earlier. We had a $5,000 first place prize. Then she also picked up a $4,000 check. Today, she's guaranteed at least $9,000, but if she stays ahead of Missy, it could be $14,000. Largest check of her career. And Missy Gannon checking up right next to the basket.
That was huge for Missy, and it didn't seem like there was the obvious gap. She had to beat a tree at the very end. She had to beat about 20 trees at the very end, but finds a way to skip next to the basket, and she is going to have a drop-in birdie on 17. Knowing that Valarie's not underneath the basket, she's going to still have to give this a good run if she's going to fend off Missy.
Right there? I might get this tree right there then. But I mean, you something I can go have some there. So I'm rich.
Oh, and discussing options there with her husband, Justin.
Okay, let's go.
And Owen Scoggins delivers again. Somehow threading the needle, Scoggins puts it right next to the basket. And quite the personal celebration. I love it.
Just beautiful upshot there for Kristen underneath the pin for a drop-in par. And Owen needed this shot to get through the trees, to punch out in the middle of the fairway, and she even surprised herself with how good that ended up. And right before she threw that, you know, there's so much conversation between her and Justin, back and forth, which shot, which window. She goes, all right, let's go.
And Valarie hands the putt. Missy Gannon picks up her first birdie since hole 11. She's going to be all knotted up with Valarie and playing hole 18 potentially for $5,000. Kristen in for the easy par. Owen Scoggins had to work for it, but she also will card the par. Owen will be 4 back of Kristen, playing for what could be a $20,000 second place payout. What a round and what a day it's been. And for this woman, what a year it's been. Looking to get over $100,000 and break all PDGA records for money earned in a single season. Kristen Tatar getting it done. So many different events this year. She missed out on 2 majors and is still going to be breaking all previous records, men or women's divisions. It doesn't matter. She picked up her first world title. I feel like there's more in the works for her. Woman from Estonia goes then the next weekend, travels to Pennsylvania, picks up a victory easily over there in Pennsylvania, and then heads north Green Mountain Championship winner. A dominant season, never finishing off the podium. So impressive.
And to finish a season with a career or a yearly earning of over $100,000. Think of how much pressure that takes off of her. Think of how many more opportunities that she can have to come back to the States. We'll see her next year, no doubt about it, as long as she can keep her body healthy. We know that even this year, how dominant she's been, she has fought through injuries and has still come out on top. What a way to finish this off. A huge lead as we head to the last hole of the Tour Championships.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold still. We are live on the tee.
There's still a lot on the table between Valarie and Missy Gannon.
It all starts with being inbounds off of the tee. This par 5 has provided plenty of drama in the previous rounds.
Trauma and drama.
Three for 3 on inbounds tee shots. Owen Scoggins now just looking to hold on to her second place position. Owen Scoggins won $10,000 earlier this year at the Match Play Championship. She's looking to double that here today with a second place finish. Here's Kristen Tatar with what will be her last tee shot of her 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour season. Certainly historic season for so many reasons. Her podium finishes, her world championship, her now $35,000 first place check, which she's looking to pick up in a few minutes. Brought to us in part by Barbasol, our presenting sponsor of the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship weekend. And I'm going to throw it out one last time to Zoe Andyke. Zoe, any parting shots from hole 18 before we let you go here today?
Yeah, Terry, even though we've got just a couple more miles per hour picking up on the wind, we are on the 18th fairway, knowing that Kristen will be coasting into the largest, most historical payout for any FPO competitor. She's just going to be, like I said, coasting into the basket where Valarie and Missy have all of the pressure. Each stroke means multiple thousands of dollars here. Who's going to be aggressive to take that third place cash?
It all comes down to who's up first. Missy Gannon throwing over out of bounds, marked there on the left and top of our screen. She needs this flight to continue flying straight. Checks up the nice drive, but she didn't put the full amount of power on that one. Missy Gannon is in position to play this hole for par. I think she's just so far back to reach the pin.
We see that Kristen has leaked out to the left-hand side. She's going to get the red OB flag.
Valarie trying to play this very safe and keep it away from the out of bounds, but she leaves it on the right-hand side. She's going to be near those trees. It's not a great spot over there. We'll have to see where she ends up and if she's able to get a full run up and throw that direct route to get the distance that she needs.
As we soak in the final few moments of our FPO competition here on the 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour season, we have to again thank the Charlotte Disc Golf Club, everyone involved to be our gracious host out here, along with our presenting sponsor in Barbasol, Johnsonville, LL Bean, so many incredible sponsors and our support network to make it all possible.
And it goes to show the growth of our game to now see sponsors outside of our sport giving back in such a huge way to help the growth of our game. And to finish off this season with huge payouts, so much money on the line. We have to thank them so much for their support.
And Mandujano staying way off to the right side, not bringing the left side wall or OB into play at all, but almost two turned over, and still big money on the line, as we've said, for this third and fourth place positioning.
There is out of bounds long and left. So if Missy wants to be aggressive to throw this to the pin, she needs to keep it in bounds as well. Keeps it on the right-hand side. Does it have the distance?
This could set her up for an extra $5,000. She'll have a chance to make the big money putt. Kind and gracious winner that Kristen is, of course, just giving us another opportunity to shout out our friends at Barbasol there. She's placed right next to our sponsorship wall. And of course, also on the Disc Golf Network, we've got plenty of off-season content coming to you, including the On Tour docu-series. Kristen can still get up and down and save the par. We know that plenty of you are watching on YouTube, but we invite you to join us here on the Disc Golf Network, the home of live disc golf. But we also have plenty of programming scheduled for you here during our slower portion of the season. We'll have the Silver Series as well as the On Tour docu-series I just mentioned, along with additional shows and programming throughout. Make sure you're a current PDGA member. That will get you a 50% discount. Appreciate you guys, and it won't be long before we're kicked right back up and running for the All-Star Weekend come February. So we want you to be here. Stick around throughout the season as we gear up for 2023. See Jeff Spring, our Disc Golf Pro Tour CEO.
Valarie Mandujano from deep Not even giving this a run. She's going to be inside the circle for her par. So now she's holding it out there for Missy Gannon, who is inside circle 2 with the opportunity for a birdie look and to capitalize on 3rd place. And Kristen, with plenty of strokes to spare, she lays it up underneath the basket and can start the celebration.
Missy Gannon, with this putt, would take 3rd place outright for $14,000. Big money Missy for birdie. And Gannon not able to convert. That means she will remain tied, assuming Valarie Mondahano makes this putt. Valarie left a little on it. To remain tied for 3rd place.
We could have all put big bets that Valarie were to make that putt. And now she takes 4th. Missy gets 3rd.
Difference of $2,500 on that putt, as now she will take outright 4th place. Owen Scoggins in for 2nd and $20,000. Missy will tap in, and your 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour champion, Kristen Tatar.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to announce our 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship presented by Barbasol champion, winner of $35,000, and the winner of this year's tour. Please put your hands together for Kristen Tatar.
Down here on the ground at the Pro Tour finale, I am standing next to our tour champion, our world champion, and Kristen Tatar. Kristen, first thoughts and how it feels.
It's amazing, you know. I really wanted to win this, not only because it's a big payout, but it would be a nice way to end this incredible season that I've had. And it was intense, yeah.
Well, let's talk about it from the very first moment this morning. Did you get good sleep last night, or were the nerves just as high as yesterday's round?
The sleeping was okay. Not the best, probably, but like I got some good night's sleep. But yeah, definitely there were nerves, even though I tried to tell myself there aren't. But I know there were.
Well, I've got to ask for everyone out there, was it a little more nerves for the World Championship or for today?
Yeah, I wanted Worlds more for sure, and the focus was unreal during Worlds. I've been missing being in that kind of zone, but yeah, I'm so proud of myself that I pushed through even though I wasn't feeling the best.
All right, well, tell us what it felt like when you realized that moment you were in the driver's seat?
I can't even remember. At one point I asked Silver the scores and he said I had some room to play with, I think 4 strokes. And then I kind of knew that I just have to like take pars, and on the last hole I already was like loose.
All right, Kristen, any final parting thoughts for the world, for your sponsors, from your heart?
Thank you everybody who's been following disc golf. The fans are incredible. There's so many of you out there. Just a huge thank you. And for everybody who's like behind the cameras and behind the scenes that we don't see every day, huge thank you to everybody. It's been an incredible year.
And thank you so much, Kristen Tatar. Let me see this arm. Our champion.
Thank you so much, Zoe and Kristen Tatar. Well, she probably has to help her raise her arm because Kristen is getting tired of raising all these checks and trophies. She's been doing it all year long. Just the most gracious of champions, the Estonian coming here and showing the entire world the dominant competitor that she's been. She's won the Estonian Sportswoman of the Year award, and now she comes to America and has put on the performance here in 2022. Val, any initial reaction to all of that?
Well, Kristen came in as our #1 seed. She fought and battled for that position in these last few months. And while you can lean on that as an advantage, Kristen still had to put in the work. And today was another just consistent performance from her. She said she is fighting off the nerves. There has to be pressure there. There is so much on the line, specifically with every single putt. But Kristen caps off an incredible year with another demanding, amazing, incredible. I mean, you could run out of words, but Kristen has locked it in this year, and she is just proving that she is the best player in the sport right now.
And she's just hoisted, or will be hoisting, the largest paycheck we've seen in disc golf history. We're going to have our OTB after show along with the check presentation, all coming on the other side of this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Power Grip, Europe's #1 disc golf shop, is now available in the United States.
Whoa. In Europe, we have 5 physical locations where you can shop at, or at the online store, powergripeurope.com.
And in the U.S., shop powergripusa.com. What's up with that?
And my newest sponsor, Dynamic Disc.
Shots by my soul ladies, yeah. If I go down, I might cause a scene, yeah. Them scheme, them go to sleep, yeah. They don't wanna come roll with me, yeah. Run, Ricky, run, run, Ricky, run. Run, Ricky, run, run, Ricky, run. Run, Ricky, run, run, Ricky, run.
The Millennium Draco is an overstable 9-speed utility driver that's great for Hausers, backhand or forehand. Get yours at golfdisc.com.
Behind every face is a story, unique, each and every one. Beautiful stories, inspiring stories, some beyond our wildest dreams. And every day, a new story begins. We salute every fearless, self-assured, undeterred, hopeful face all across America. Here's to the next 100 years. Barbasol.
Champion Kristin Tattar with a few of the highlights from today's action. She maybe had somewhat of a disadvantage not getting warmed up in either the play-in round or the quarterfinals, but she showed up in the semifinals yesterday. She progressed into today's action, and she looked unstoppable. Got off to a little bit of a slow start, but then once she got it rolling, seemed unstoppable. And this being one of my favorite shots of the day, hole number 10. Lacing it up the very narrow fairway over 300 feet. That would go on to be a tap-in par, and we've said it before, she also knows how to scramble for the few times she gets off the fairway.
Yeah, and that was just an insane shot to throw it at that angle for it to work out, but her putting was locked in. And once she kind of got herself into that groove, whenever she saw the basket, she was cashing the putt.
She continues to look like the superhero she plays like. It's been an incredible couple of days out here at the Matt Keatts Memorial Disc Golf Course at Nevin Park in Charlotte, North Carolina. Val, we just are about to see a $35,000 check hoisted, $20,000 for second. I mentioned it earlier. Owen Scoggins previously won her largest check ever at $10,000. That was at the Match Play Championship. Now, just a few months later, she's doubling it. $14,000 for third. That's going to Missy Gannon and Valarie Mondahano. $9,000. That's still Valerie's largest check as well. Says a lot about where disc golf has progressed, and it also says so much about what the Disc Golf Pro Tour and our gracious sponsors, what they're providing and what we have here in professional disc golf, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And to know that these players, this is just one event, but the reason that they're here playing is the commitment that they made to be on the disc golf tour full time, to be traveling on the road. I mean, for Kristin to travel to the U.S. as many times as she has this year, this is what they've worked so hard for all season long. The opportunity to be here in the Tour Championship and that opportunity to hoist the trophy and cash the big check.
Yes, it's been so incredible. We have over $300,000 this weekend that is being handed out. And one of the people that I saw out there taking in the action yesterday and today, Steve Dodger, Disc Golf Pro Tour founder, back in 2016. He had this vision. It's been a wild ride for these last few years, but here we are handing out checks of this nature, and knowing that we have so many players both on the FPO and on the MPO side that are able to make this commitment to the tour life, to traveling around. This has been talked about for decades, and it feels like we've arrived and we're here and we're seeing people with this commitment. I know you were on tour, it was a number of years ago. You were one of many that were kind of blazing that path and the early pioneer in being out there. And now to see it transform to what it is, it's certainly something special.
Yeah, it is. And to know that these players are going home with a great payday for all that hard work, and to know that that's going to set them up for this off season and allow them to be comfortable in their preparations and to jumpstart what can happen for them next year and in the future. These are still, well, she's in her 40s playing in the Masters division, but she is still so fired up. And these are some young competitors that we saw today, young in their career. Even though Kristin Tattar has been dominant, she still has so much left to give. She is just getting started.
Well, she certainly is. And right now, Kristin Tattar is your largest single season money winner of all time in any division, all due to the check she's about to be awarded. Let's take it away.
Welcome back to Matt Keatts Memorial Course here at Nevin Park at the conclusion of the 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour season. CEO and Tour Director Jeff Sprang, and I'm pleased to be here to recognize amazing season for all disc golfers on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. We had many ups and downs. I want to take this chance to thank our sponsors, our season-long partners. Thank you so much for all your support. And a big shout out and thank you to Barbasol for their support of the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship. Let's get a round of applause. I also want to thank our tour staff, our media crew from the control room all the way to on the ground. I want to take a chance to thank our owner, Todd Rainwater, who's here. Thank you, Todd, for the support of the tour. And with no further ado, I'd like to honor and thank our top 3 finishers here, the podium of the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, with thanks to Barbasol, setting a record-breaking purse of $302,000 in 3rd place, winning $14,000. Please give it up for Missy Gannon.
Oh, what a season it's been. Yeah, you know, I just want to thank everybody who has a hand in putting together the Pro Tour, you know, Jeff Sprang, all of the staff. We really get to know you guys, and it's, you know, really cool to have such a close partnership with the players and the organization. So thank you guys so much for all that you do for the sport, and for the fact that, you know, I can take 3rd place and still get over 10 grand is amazing. So it's been an awesome season. I want to thank Discraft. I want to thank Grip Equipment, Whale Sacks, Ledgestone, and Good Dog Seltzer for supporting me throughout the entire year and years before. And also, huge shout out to Tom. You're awesome. I could not do all of this and grind it out all year without your help and support. I love you so much. Thank you. And thank you to all my competitors and everybody that, you know, puts on a show week in and week out. Look forward to next year.
Thank you, Missy. All right, our 2nd place competitor taking home $20,000. Please put your hands together for Owen Scoggins.
Oh well. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm sneaky this morning. I come super early and play almost 1 round without anybody know. And could not sleeping. I only like 4 hours sleeping last night because I'm so nervous. But anyway, I want to thank you all, you know, the Pro Tour people. You know, they're working so hard. Every time I come out here, I always see them work on the course. Day in, day out. This guy was rocking. Everybody out here, I'm very appreciated. You know, they do everything for us. They do everything for the player, you know. So cannot thank you enough, because there are the hardworking people out there. I'm just like salute everyone out there for working for us. And of course, you guys. Yes. Thank you for coming. Yeah. You know what, like, you don't want to be just make the putt and then just so quiet, right? We need all the amazing people to cheer us up. That's mean a lot for the player. When we hear the loud cheer, it mean a lot. It's put out in the good mood, put out in the bad way. You know, I'm very appreciate you guys to show up, and thank you so much. And I love you all, lady. You lady was amazing. I love you all, and I'm very happy to play with the best of the best today. So they are amazing, and I want to thank you, my husband. 15 years together. 15 years together, and he's everything. He's everything to me. And I want to thank you all my sponsors, Innova, Grip, Helix, and Criver, Headwind, and Suga. You know, whatever I'm missing out there, I apologize. Thank you all, everyone out here. Very appreciate it. Thank you. Let's go!
All right, and the final competitor we'll bring up here is not only the Disc Golf Pro Tour Champion of the Year, but she has just capped off one of the most historic seasons in elite professional disc golf history, never missing a podium, winning a record-breaking $35,000 for her victory here today. Please put your hands together for Kristen Tatar. Take one of them. Here you are.
Well, first of all, it's hard to top own speech. It's just so energetic, so much fun to be around you. But yeah, it's been an incredible year for me. I was dreaming about this kind of year, and I would have been okay if it wouldn't have come true. But it did, so I'm like living in this magical place right now. It's gonna be hard to top it off. I just want to thank everybody who's following my journey and who's been helping with Disc Golf Pro Tour, creating these opportunities for us, because it wouldn't be so magical if you guys weren't there to hype it up and make it so big and just so good for us players. I really do appreciate all the work, all the cameramen behind the cameras. You're doing a great job. You're just running up and down all the time, and oh my gosh, it takes a lot of energy. So my hats off for you guys. I want to thank all my sponsors: Latitude 64, Disc.USA, Birdie Fuel Coffee, Vitamin Well Eesti, Parabels Eesti, Sportland Eesti. If I forget anyone, I'm so sorry. And of course my boyfriend Silver, who's always supporting me, loving me. I love you back so much. Thank you for being on the bag. It's amazing. And thank you to all the fans. You're just amazing. I feel so much love from you guys, and I cannot say that I felt that in my life all the time, so I really do appreciate it right now, the moment that I'm living in right now. So thank you guys. See you next year.
All right, that'll do it. All right, thanks so much, everyone, for coming out. We're going to be doing a few pictures and autographs, and if we're still alive here, kick it back to the booth with Val and Terry.
All right, we appreciate it. Jeff Spring, our CEO here of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And, well, I'm not sure that I can say it any better than Kristen said. And Kristen said she couldn't say it any better than what Owen had just said. So much excitement, so much anticipation. Owen Scoggins and the rest of our FPO competitors really recognizing and appreciating all the hard work. We just talked about that, what it means to have a sustainable tour, the opportunities that are now in front of us, all of these competitors, the sponsors that have stepped up in the ways that they have. You know, Kristen Tatar said, I was dreaming about this kind of year, and she said it would be okay if it didn't come true, but now it has. It is going to be a very tough year for her to somehow follow up in 2023, but I know I'm ready for that challenge that Kristen Tatar has in front of her, and I think all of the fans are as well.
Yeah, and to be in the position to win any tournament on the Disc Golf Pro Tour is getting more difficult every year. And so Kristen is still feeling so grateful. She has so much gratitude in every event that she wins, but now she knows she can do it. Now the bar is set so high, and she is going to have the most pressure to match that next year. But will the rest of the field rise to the occasion? I think every year when we see a competitor continue to push the envelope, it just allows the rest of the field to rise, and I can't wait for what's in store next year. But first, hopefully they'll enjoy the off season that they have ahead.
Yeah, we know she's going to be traveling back, as she mentioned, with her boyfriend Silver, traveling back to Estonia, taking some of that much deserved time off, hopefully a little rest and relaxation. And you know she's going to be just as serious, grinding it out for 2023, getting ready and getting prepped to come back and follow up this incredible season. So we'll see what that's going to look like. We got to thank our friends at Barbasol. Val, what are you doing with that?
What do you need? Do you need
I don't know if I need any, but if it's going to get wild, I think I might. Oh.
I think if you can do this last OTB,
it is the final one
of the day. I mean, what could top this?
Lather me up. Let's do it. It's Barbasol, our presenting sponsor, and of course for our last OTB, only the best shot of the day as we close out 2022. Let's take a look at it as Kristen Tatar is able to tap in for the championship. She had a 4-stroke lead going into the final hole. She worked so hard throughout her round that she was able to just coast it in. There was no close shaving needed for Kristen Tatar. Congratulations to our Disc Golf Pro Tour champion and a $35,000 check. The largest single season earnings we've ever seen in PDGA history. That now belongs to Kristen Tatar. And folks, with that, we're all done here on the FPO side. MPO kicks back off at 2:30 Eastern. We're going to have all of the action here for our 2022 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship presented by Barbasol. For Zoe Andyke on the ground, Valarie Jenkins, I'm Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. See you this afternoon.